This just in, breaking news, all 12 of the soccer players, all 12 boys and their soccer coach, have been rescued from the flooded cave in Thailand. So all 12 of them now safe and rescued, and their coach. And, boy, we want to give our congratulations to our prayers being answered, and these boys out with their coach. What an ordeal they went through, but they're safe and sound, and boy, we're so glad to hear that. That is a great way to start a day. A great way to start a day. You're on the John Fredericks Radio Network. Just had Sidney Powell on, and I want to read you a text here from Mike in Chesapeake who says, I love Sidney Powell. She's great, and I'm buying her book today, License to Lie. See? There you go, Sidney. Come on my show. You sell your book. So go ahead and buy that, Mike. I've read that 2 times. Great book. Got to read it, License to Lie. Curtis Ellis coming up. Meantime, Boris Johnson quits as UK Foreign Secretary amid the Brexit crisis, and basically now 2 ministers from Theresa May's cabinet gone, both saying that she's sold out to the European Union, and the Brexit strategy that she has is turning, Boris Johnson says, turning the United Kingdom into a colony of the European Union. So they're quitting, and the Theresa May government not long for this world. Meantime, the president heading to Europe today with the First Lady. Joining us now to break all this down. We got SCOTUS. We got Brexit. We've got immigration. We've got rulings on the border for no borders. We got it all here in one segment. Curtis Ellis, America First Policy Senior Advisor. Great to have you with us, Curtis.
Hey, it's great to be here, John. I'll tell you one question. You know everything. You are the all-knowing.
Thank you.
Our fearless chosen leader, John Fredericks. One more issue I would like to add to this segment.
Yes.
As if that was not enough. Has anybody asked, if anybody knows, you would know, why did the coach bring the boys into the cave in the first place?
They were going on an exploratory trip, as I understand it.
I mean, I'm glad they're out. Now that they're out and safe, can we ask that question?
They were.
What the hell were they doing going into a cave in monsoon season?
They were exploring like little campers do, and so they were exploring,
okay.
And so he thought this would be a neat thing to do. And then the monsoons came, and they couldn't get out, and they were stuck there a long time. Luckily, they had enough food to survive, but you certainly would have to question the judgment of the troop leader.
Let's go on to the important stuff.
But that is a good.
That. And it's Thailand. They don't have signs up everywhere telling you can't do this, you can't do that. It's dangerous. It's not dangerous. This is the real world out there, right?
Well, if they had signs like we do, then they would know that they shouldn't go in there. Beware of monsoon season.
That's right.
See, we can joke about it now because
they're
all
all kinds
free.
of crazy signs all over the place. You can't drink coffee. You might get cancer. You know, it's Thailand. It's not California.
Meantime, the Democrats are running around with their hair on fire. I mean, the hysteria. I was on CNN last night, Curtis, and just on the set there, the hysteria of the guest after guest, whether it was Jennifer Granholm, the former governor of Michigan, or Brett Fallon. I guess he was the press secretary for Hillary Clinton. I guess he advised her not to go to Wisconsin or something. But they're just incensed by this whole thing. I mean, I don't see how they derail Kavanaugh. This guy is so qualified, right?
He is so qualified, but they're going to dig through all of his opinions. See, I think it's a great choice by President Trump. I mean, this is just amazing. For so long, the playbook among Republicans was hide, go into a defensive crouch. We're going to pick somebody who doesn't have a paper trail. We're going to pick somebody who no one knows what they believe in because we're afraid to stand up for what we believe in. So we'll just pick somebody that is a zero. That way they can't pick on their record and go through the record and find some reason to object. They'll always object. Donald Trump is not afraid to fight. And so he picked somebody with a solid conservative record, a solid constitutionalist record. I mean, I love this guy, Brett Kavanaugh. He wrote opinions saying an illegal alien worker is not a legal employee in the United States. Period. Full stop.
So no rights.
If you're here illegally, you cannot be considered a legal employee, which is a legal term, right? Legal employees are entitled to this or entitled to that. You can't fire them. You got to give them a promotion. You got to pay them overtime. If you're here illegally, you're not a legal employee, and you're not entitled to the rights of a citizen, kind of thing. He says that. He acknowledges that Congress has traditionally and always irrefutably favored American industry over foreign competition. You know, you're going to get some Cato Institute libertarian freaking out over that. It's like, oh my gosh, that's protectionism. Oh my gosh, we're supposed to treat the slave labor camps in China the same as American industries. Oh my gosh, what are you talking about? It's a global economy. Brett Kavanaugh says this is the world. Okay, this is the way the real world works. So Donald Trump is. Let's have that argument. Let's let the Democrats say, what are you doing standing up for American workers? How dare you do that? Oh, my gosh, you're not qualified to sit on the Supreme Court. You make a distinction between American citizens and illegal aliens. Let's have that argument. That's what Donald Trump said. So it's great. Yeah, the Democrats are going to freak out over everything. They probably said Judge Souter was a right-wing extremist, and Joseph Goebbels in a black robe. I mean, anytime a Republican nominates somebody for the Supreme Court, the sky is falling. It's the end of the Constitution. It's a dire threat to the Republic. It's what it is. It's nonsense. And one other thing I got to say, for all those people, all those never-Trumpers, you know who you are out there, senators. You know who you are, Mr. Flake. You know who you are, Mr. Corker. For all those people who said, well, I just said, Evan McMuffin, the light bulb guy from Utah who ran for president and got, 0 votes.
Well,
are you happy now?
I mean, look.
You voted for Hillary Clinton. Would she have picked somebody like this?
Yeah.
Who would she have picked?
Yeah, I said that earlier about the never-Trumpers. I can't believe you said that because I don't know where they go from here. I mean, if they said, well, Trump's not a conservative, he's not conservative enough, you just got unbelievably conservative judges with long records put on the Supreme Court. And I love the point that you made about not running away from the record because that's what wrought David Souter on us because once in a while you pick one of these people and you say, oh, there's no record, they can't do anything to him. But then there's no record, so you don't really know where they stand, which is what happened with David Souter, who became one of the most liberal judges we had, picked, as you know, by George H. So, look, he's got a record. He's going to defend it. Look, there is nothing in his record that is going to derail any of these Republicans. And could you imagine, how could you now be Susan Collins or Lisa Murkowski or even John McCain if he can make it here on an airplane? How are you going to vote against Brett Kavanaugh and stay in the Republican Party? I mean, the question would be, well, why are you even here, right? I mean, you are going to get run out of the party. I mean, this guy is so clean. And, as far as the criticism, look, I don't like George H. Bush. I don't like George W. Bush. I don't like any of the Bushes. I don't like Jeb. I don't even like Laura, right? I don't like any of them. So, I mean, I get it.
Laura.
I don't like Laura. Ever since she came out with that comment criticizing the president, I'm like, you know what? If you want to start talking about your husband's record, look, I'll be happy to have you come on my show, and we can spend 4 hours talking about what a disastrous president your husband's been. I have no problem with that. Mm-hmm. But look, I don't like any of them. But if you look at his record, I mean, this is an unbelievably constitutionally conservative judge, and some of the things that he's written and done, I think, are going to be very difficult for a Republican to say, well, I don't like him because, or I'm going to vote against him because, coupled with the fact that Collins and Murkowski have both voted for every Trump judge, and they voted for every Supreme Court judge, and they've been there, both sides. I don't see it. I don't see it.
Yeah, I don't see it. And, they say, well, Rand Paul might vote against him because he doesn't have the right opinion on the Fourth Amendment searches of metadata and, electronic surveillance. Again, as you said, how could somebody not vote for this guy and line up with the Democrats and still be a member of the Republican Party?
And the thing is, let's just play this out. Let's say he got derailed for some reason, all right? For some reason. The Republicans are going to gain seats in the Senate in the midterms, right? There's no math to have them lose. I've got them picking up 5 seats. They're going to gain seats. So the Democrats are going to be worse off. I don't know where they're going with this, other than they have to all out progressive each other and run around with their hair on fire and all hysteria. Well, and you saw that last night.
And they're hoping to derail him and then force Trump to pick somebody that, Merrick Garland or Garrick Marland or, Marlin Fitzwater or whoever the hell that they didn't confirm that Hillary Clinton would have picked. So I love it.
Right.
The assumption of the media is obviously we all know that they're a branch of the DNC.
Right.
But the assumption always is Trump campaigned on this. He got elected on this. But now that he's in office, he should do what Hillary did.
Right. It's incredible.
That's what reasonable people do. It's
Elections
what are you
have
doing picking a conservative?
Unbelievable.
Well, that's what I said I was going to do. I actually put the names out there when I was campaigning. And I was like, well, he should pick, this is like insane, this type of person. No, it's not. He's actually he's got a good record. He's got a long record. He's been out there for years. No one's ever criticized him or called him a crazy before. Why are you starting now?
We're with Curtis Ellis. He is a senior policy advisor for America First Policies. More information, go to americafirstpolicies.org. And you're on the John Fredericks Radio Network. You're Godzilla of the Truth in America. Curtis, let's get to another judge's ruling. All these judges, right, yesterday ruling that the Trump administration plan at the border for zero tolerance, so that if someone crosses the border illegally with a child in tow, a minor child in tow, and they cannot elude authorities, because that's really what they try to do, is elude the authorities and disappear into the interior of the country. If they get apprehended and they throw up their hands and claim asylum, and they have a minor child, a judge ruled they can't be apprehended, they can't be held with the child. So basically what they're saying is you have to release them or not have a border or just let everybody in. I mean, what do they expect now the president and the administration to do?
They expect the president to throw up his hands and do what Hillary Clinton would have done. That's what they're doing. It's more, again, this same syndrome. There is only one right set of policies, and that's the globalist no borders policy that the voters rejected at the ballot box last November in the last cycle. And we're going to determine what the laws are from the bench. We're the judges. I love what Sidney Powell said. The Border Patrol, under statutes, the law says the Border Patrol agents have the discretion to turn away and send these people back and say, sorry, that's not a credible claim of asylum. You can't stay here. No, that's the due process. It's in the law. That is due process. They're allowed to say that. Sorry, not a credible claim of asylum. You do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Do not get a free pass into our country. You go back to where you came from, or at least go back across the border.
So how do they do that? They got to ship them there, right?
Yeah. Give them a bus. That's what they used to do with welfare people. People claiming welfare in New York and in California, they give them a bus ticket back home. Right. Back to Wyoming or Kansas or wherever.
Well, what the judges said is basically there's no U.S. border, just to erase them, because as I've said 100 times, catch and release is an open border policy. You get caught, you get released, 15% show up, the other 85% disappear, you can't find them. So basically you have an open border situation. Now what the Democrats want, that's not good enough. They don't even want that. They don't like the 15% that come back. They don't want any borders. They want to erase the country, and they've got judges being complicit with them. So
that's right. They want to erase citizenship. They don't think there should be such a thing as citizenship. Everybody should be able to go wherever the hell they want. They haven't thought this through. It's a complete emotional reaction. Oh, those poor people. She's being beaten by her husband, or at least that's what she says, and so we're going to believe that. We don't even know if these people showing up with kids, if they're actually the parents.
Right.
We don't know that.
Right.
And there's a story in the New York Times from 2014 of human traffickers. I mean, these are unrelated people. Mm. Who knows what they're going to do with that kid when they get to the United States?
That's
Maybe
right.
sell them into slavery to work in a, landscape place. Who knows?
No one
you
knows.
don't know. We don't know if they're actually the parents,
right.
But we assume they are, right?
Because
just
there's
like
no
Time
paperwork.
Magazine assumes that child was ripped from the bosom of the mother. No, she wasn't.
No paper.
I mean, but it's a great story, and you don't let facts get in the way of a good story. That's the way the liberals think. That's the way the journalism works these days, and they want a sanctuary nation. right? Not sanctuary city, not sanctuary state, sanctuary nation, where all the people from all over the world can come here because we are bleeding heart liberals and we'll just take care of everybody. And there's a poem on the base of the Statue of Liberty that says, give us your poor, your tired, and your huddled masses. And we're going to take that literally. Unfortunately, look, it doesn't work. We're not Noah's Ark. We're not a sanctuary nation. We are a nation. And Sam Gompers said this. Sam Gompers was the founder of the AFL, as in AFL-CIO, the American Federation of Labor. He was a labor activist. When they threw labor activists in jail, when they shot them, when they killed them, he fought for the 40-hour work week, the 5-day work week, all that. And he said we can't have unrestricted immigration. He said the big companies are bringing in cheap labor from overseas. They're putting people on boats, bringing them in. At that time, it was from Europe, right? Because the people down south were happy to stay there on the farm. But they were bringing in people from Europe who would work, undercut the wages of the American workers and work in the factories and in the mines. And he said, no, we can't have that. We've got to restrict immigration. And he talked to his people in Italy, right? Because that's where a lot of them were coming from. This is like the 1890s, 1900s. They were coming over from Italy, and he says, look, I know you folks are coming here because it's better here than it is there, but we need you to stay there and work for better conditions in Italy. If you all come here, it's never going to get better in Italy. So he was talking to labor organizers in Italy, and he said, don't send your people to America, organize them back home. So all of these immigrant activists in Los Angeles and everywhere in America, they should be teaching these people, these Guatemalans and Hondurans, how to organize for better conditions in Honduras.
In their country. Exactly.
In their country. Make their countries better. Because I tell you what, they would rather be in their country with their grandmothers and their grandfathers and their cousins and their families and everything else in the land that they know, where they can pick a mango on the tree and they know where the tree is and everything else. That's where they'd rather be, actually. Give them the backbone, give them the guts, give them the tools, teach them to be community organizers in Honduras.
Right. No, you're right. I mean, that's what they should do. And if they were doing that, we'd all be for it, right? Because if they did that, then they would improve working conditions there. We'd get out of the slave trade network there as well as here, and then they wouldn't have to come here.
Right.
Now, let's I got 3 minutes to get to Brexit. Boris Johnson quits as the UK Foreign Secretary. He says that Theresa May is not really exiting Brexit, that all the compromises she's made with the European Union basically has turned the United Kingdom into a colony, and that it's a phantom exit. What say you?
Yes, exactly right. Theresa May is a huge disappointment. You look what's going on over there with the immigration, with the grooming gangs, with Tommy Robinson being put in jail because he was reporting on a trial. And this is a Tory government. This is a conservative government. Theresa May is like the old, is like the never Trump Republicans in America. She's a conservative in name only. I guess that makes her a Chino. I don't know, but she's or Kano, and they're stuck in the old way of thinking. Theresa May really didn't want Brexit, and she's trying to make believe it's Brexit. So it's a make believe Brexit, and her entire cabinet is falling apart, and pretty soon she may be falling apart.
Well, look, I mean, the voters of the UK voted to get out of Brexit. May didn't want to do that. She's been dragging her feet. Now she's losing ministers. Her government is tottering. She's likely to get replaced. But it is amazing to me how these politicians think they can just betray the will of the voters. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're in the United States or United Kingdom or Sweden, or wherever you are. They just think that, like, they're smarter than the voters. The vote was illegitimate. And the voters didn't know what they're doing, and half of them are too stupid to have a job. And so we know better, and so we'll maneuver our way around it and basically make believe it'll be paper. What she is doing is the exit from Brexit from the UK is a paper exit. It's not real because they still have all these conditions, all this trade, all the stuff they have to do. So it's on paper only. And I think her government's going to fall. As it
I
should.
think so, too. Look, this goes right back to the progressive ideal in the 1900s where society is so sophisticated now that democracy is outdated. We're just going to have professional politicians and technocrats that they'll be able to make the decisions because people really aren't sophisticated enough. We'll take care of it from here. And this is another manifestation of that.
Curtis Ellis, America First Policy. It's great to have you with us, man. Always a pleasure. Thanks for your insight.